Hey, how y'all doing out there? Here's another edition of J Street Sports. Tonight we're doing Hoya Talk. We're gonna talk everything Georgetown tonight. Hopefully, I'm gonna have a few guests on that's gonna shoot with me tonight as we go down what's been going on with Georgetown basketball. We did something a couple weeks ago. Few things have changed. Got a couple. We got one injury to speak about, the Akak injury. Also, we're going to talk about the way guys been looking in Kenner League from Primo. I don't think Murray played this week. We're also going to see about Ryan Matumbo, how he looked, Jordan Riley. We're going to speak about, basically all the guys. We're also going to speak tonight in regards to the alumni game that's coming up. I believe it's August 6th. It's going to be Maryland versus Georgetown. And we're going to go over the rosters and definitely that Georgetown roster, see what's going on with that. A lot has changed since some of these guys have played. Some of them are better. Some look a little heavier. So we're going to talk about that. And we're going to try our best to break down that particular game. Not for sure exactly, how to really break it down since some of these guys we haven't seen in years play basketball. So we're going to try our best with that. We're going to touch on recruiting. Isaiah Miranda. To me, not a recruiting guru, but it looks like Georgetown might be in the lead there. I know that they are pulling out all the stops, and I like that. They're not really recruiting a lot of guys in 23. The majority of their efforts going to be on 2024, but they're trying to get some big fish at 23. So we're going to touch on that. Definitely going to touch on that. Also, I want to, shout out the people that's been supporting me. Everyone that's been out there on Twitter and Instagram and everywhere that's, supporting me as I, do this new station. You can also go to the link through my Twitter page, or you can get it up here. I'm gonna put it in the comments if you want to come on and speak. This is an open forum. Unless I got some type of guest or something up, anyone can come up here and talk with me. I open the floor for you. That's also when I'm speaking about boxing. I always want to have it as an open forum, for communication. And no one's too smart or too dumb up here. We all got our own opinions, and we're going to share it. Now, I might go at somebody. It all depends. But for the majority of the time, I'm not. I'm going to let you, say your piece and have healthy conversation. So, again, we're going to shoot and we're going to go at we got a lot to speak on and talk about on tonight. And I'm excited. I got a couple guys I am hoping going to come up. Also got one guy that I had reached that I had finally got in touch with, and I definitely want him to come on, and discuss what's going on in Georgetown basketball. Maybe some guys up here that really don't know a lot about Georgetown basketball, and that's okay too, because we're going to school them today on Georgetown basketball and what they got going on. A lot of people is not, college basketball is more exciting with the transfer portal. I think that it get a lot more people pumped up about it because it's almost like free agency. So we'll discuss a little bit of that, the transfer portal, and if it, has excited people and things of that nature. Because I've seen the excitement level Um, Very rarely do it be this pumped up during the off season about what's going on. Now, usually right around the end of March, first or second week of April, it's real hype because the Final Four just happened. We just seen March Madness, and people be pumped up. But right now, the transfer portal has people super excited into June, May, June, July. They like, oh, did you see so and so? Is he gonna transfer? Is he's in the portal? Is he gonna come back? Or they start looking at other teams and they say, hey, this team point guard average 17 and 7, and he come from the Southern League or the Southern Conference, and da 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 da. Can he come to the Big East and do something? So it's a lot of different things that we're going to touch on as far as that transfer portal. But the main purpose of tonight, what's up, my brother here? What's up, King? But my main purpose tonight is going to be on recruiting and also the alumni game. I'm looking forward to that alumni game. I wish those guys would have got into the TBT tournament, but I've seen Chris Wright in the tournament. Um, you know, he didn't get much playing time, so I don't know what that means. I know he been playing in the European leagues, so I'm not for sure if maybe his season the season just ended or what have you, and he could be to a point where he just wanted to work himself in slowly. Not for sure, but yeah, I definitely seen Chris Wright at that tournament. I think he got just a little bit of playing time, not much. TBT tournament, I actually like the tournament. I like the Elam ending. I think it's good for basketball that's not necessarily NBA or college. I like that. Um, in some of those blowouts that they have in high school basketball, they need to bring a Elam ending. Sometimes we see a lot of scores 70-28. Hey, man, just make it with the first one to 78 in that case, to end that. So we could touch on that, the TBT and the Elam ending. Been some interesting basketball, been some good basketball as well, man. Some real good basketball being played in the Elam. And also it shows people that just because you played at a big school doesn't mean anything, because a lot of those guys are coming from those smaller schools, and they got back together and they really mixed it up. I like what I saw from the HBCU team that was there, that was coached by Coach Jones out of Norfolk State. They was real competitive, won a game, and then they lost a real close game the other day. Got a chance to see Jimmer Fredette playing with the money team. So we could touch a little bit on TBT basketball as well, depending on who's up here and what we're talking about. But we're gonna definitely get into Georgetown right now. Isaiah Miranda, definitely want to touch on him. I like what I see. I think that this kid, he can score on the inside. He also can hit 3-pointers, which shocked me. I didn't know that he had range like that, but I shouldn't be shocked because the majority of guys now that are set 6'11", 7 foot can do both. Kind of built a little bit like Chet Holmgren, a little bigger, more athletic, but don't have that, perimeter game as good as him. But he can block shots. He looked like a lottery pick. He looked like a future lottery pick. And if you go out there and you get a kid like that, I mean, it's just like with Marvel Allen. It doesn't really matter what you bring back. Those kids are in the starting lineup because 9 times out of 10, you don't have anything on your squad that's better than them two kids. And those are the type of athletes that Pat needs for the style that he plays. Last year, I felt like Georgetown struggled because of lack of athleticism. and some of the guys were good players, but I think that they were playing upper level. And that ain't no disrespect because it takes a lot to play on the college level anyway. But I think if they can bring in kids like Marvel, like Miranda, like Brandon Murray, who's already on the team, Primo, those guys are high level players. The big kid Bradley, I like him. I love that kid. Jay Heath, he got the experience, man, playing in at Boston College, then going to Arizona State. The kid is hard nosed. He can score, he can shoot, and he can defend. Something that Georgetown has needed. They needed a guy that can defend on the perimeter and also score on the perimeter. So much, man. The last year or two, we've seen point guards light us up on that end of the floor. And I'm not taking away nothing from anybody on Dante or nobody. I'm just speaking of fact. The kid from Providence that could shoot and score, he was good, but I don't know if he 10 for 12 good. This kid scoring 30 plus. Those were some of the things, and getting beat off the dribble. I mean, when you break down your defense, right away. Those were some of the things, man. Absolutely, he an underrated transfer. Heath is an underrated transfer because, and I feel that Heath coming to Georgetown is part of the reason that he's underrated. Because had he went and transferred to Kentucky or something, people would be talking about, oh, what a tremendous get for Kentucky. They got a hard-nosed 4-year player that played in the ACC, played in the Pac-12, and he did good, all conference as a freshman, da-da-da-da-da. But he went to Georgetown, he got overlooked. Because number one, Georgetown got to be one of the top 3 teams as far as the transfer portal. I mean, from Heath to Murray. I mean, man, we talking about 2 of the top guys right there. I mean, that was in the portal. If I'm not mistaken, Brandon Murray was considered a top 3, top 5 guy coming out of the portal. I'm going to put the link in the comments if anyone want to come on and speak with me and share their views, because I love to hear what someone else is thinking, man. Definitely. But yeah, I mean, I look at it like this as far as the transfer portal. It's like free agency. You got to take advantage of it. I mean, you have to, because a majority of these kids give you more than bringing in a freshman. And not saying that the freshman might not be a better player eventually, but Pat and Georgetown are in the situation where they have to get good right away. We don't have time to wait for a guy to develop 2 years or 3 years to start being good. Georgetown needs a guy to be good right away, right now, like yesterday. They need somebody to come right in and just, start hustling right away to make a difference. And yes, guys, tap right in. Come on up and let your voice be heard. No voice is going to be underlooked on this platform. You're not going to be called stupid or any of that. If you got something to say, come on, let's share it. That's what it is. It's a fan friendly platform. And yeah, plenty of Georgetown haters out there. Yeah, man. The Georgetown hate, I mean, that's it's real. It's real. And it ain't just Georgetown hate from national media. We got Georgetown hate from so-called Georgetown media or Georgetown fans. There's a fraction of people that want to see the program good I admit that, but they want it to be good in the way that they want it to be good. They want the program ran the way that they see fit, and it's not going to be good unless it's something that they like, and that ain't life. That's not life. That's not sports. That's not nothing. I mean, no matter what, I'm just a fan. I can't tell these guys what the way it should be and this and that. I mean, look, you have your own opinion, and I have my opinion. And my opinion is I'd rather be positive. I'd rather be positive on a lot of this stuff, man. I definitely would. I mean, it's like going out there and recruiting this year. I mean, people was telling me that, with Ward and all these guys, I would think that Georgetown had just missed on Kevin Durant and Michael Beasley and all the DC greats. I was under that impression the way that people were so down. Well, turns out that through the transfer portal, Georgetown got better through the transfer portal than if they had brought in Ward and these guys. But I get it. Don't get me wrong. I get it. A lot of this got to do with people want to see local talent. Well, Heath is from Washington, D.C. Brandon Murray's from Baltimore. That's DMV. That's DMV. So it doesn't have to be the names that we want. I mean, if they still getting the talent from, the area, I mean, that's the key, right? To get the players from the area. That's what people want. So when they bring in someone from the area, we should embrace that because, it doesn't have to be a freshman that come in from the area or from this particular high school or what have you. And look, and that's another thing. Speaking on that and recruiting, I'm looking for the day where the public schools will come back in the DC area. I saw that Georgetown got real close. Buchanan, get my brother Junebug. How you doing, Mr. Junebug?
Man, what's going on, man? What's going
Ain't
on?
too much, man. I'm talking some Georgetown talk, but I'm also gonna slip in some other college basketball talk, man. You know
Okay.
what I'm saying? We even can jump on to some NBA stuff. Doesn't matter, bro. And look, like I had said earlier, you don't have to be a real big Georgetown fan to join in on this conversation, as long as you're a fan of basketball, man. You
Okay,
know,
okay.
yeah.
Big fan of
So,
basketball, but I ain't gonna lie, I ain't a Georgetown fan.
hey, that's
Make
cool,
no
man. Hey, look, hey, this forum, brother, is for fan friendly. So Georgetown ain't the only basketball in town, although I love it. We can also discuss other things. Speaking of that, have you been watching the TBT tournament? The
No, I haven't.
basketball tournament. Okay, so basically, what that tournament is that it's like $1 million tournament. So whomever win it gets $1 million. They have to split it between however many is on their team. It consists of probably like 10 players, a lot of former college. I did see a former NBA player that was up there, Jimmer Fredette.
Okay,
The
okay.
Jimmer, you remember shooting Jimmer, yeah, and
BYU.
right, BYU, and also Trevor Booker.
Who?
Trevor Booker. Trevor
Okay, okay.
Booker, yeah, the big man, left-handed, could had crazy athleticism, could jump out of the gym, play his college basketball at Clemson. But in the NBA, I believe he played with the Wizards, he played with the Suns. He was
So
he was a journeyman.
yeah, he was kind of like an undersized four, wasn't he? Wasn't he like a power forward,
Undersized
six?
four, undersized five. Right. Right.
Okay.
So he was in the tournament doing pretty good, man. They playing with Floyd Mayweather. So they go back to our boxing, playing with his team, the money team. And
Okay.
yeah, and they won yesterday. Matter of fact, they won a close game. And what's unique about the tournament is that the last 4 minutes of the fourth quarter. They play three, I think 9 or 10 minute quarters, not for sure. But in the fourth quarter, the last 4 minutes, they give you something that's called an Elam ending, where let's say the score is 72-70, right?
Mhm.
The Elam ending means that whomever scored like the next 8 points, or they give it's like 80 points. 80 points would be that reaching point. So the first team to 80 wins. That's
Okay.
how they do that. They call it a Elam ending, which is kind of
Okay.
cool, man. It's cool. It's unique. It's different. Um,
Okay.
you know. And I know you probably want to touch on some NBA, so I could talk a little NBA because my Georgetown people ain't started to come in yet. What you
Okay.
think about Kevin Durant, the Boston Celtics reaching out to the Nets to discuss some Kevin Durant news?
Oh man, yeah, man. Let me say I don't want to take up so much of your time, but for me to break
Brother,
that
talk
down,
it,
man.
bro. Talk
The
it.
br- so to break that down is two things, man. First of
Mhm.
all right, I'm gonna look. I'm gonna peel it back on. I'm gonna start with Brooklyn, right?
Okay.
And see, here's the thing: what people got to understand about Brooklyn. Brooklyn was never in the situation that they thought they was going to be in. Because if you go back, right,
Mm-hmm.
if you go back to 3 years ago when Kevin Durant was deciding to leave Golden State, whatever, Brooklyn didn't know Kyrie and Kevin Durant was interested in them. They basically like showed up at the door. If y'all remember, they basically showed up at the door. It's like y'all got cap space. We want to come to Brooklyn. Of course,
Right.
Brooklyn was like, "Come on." So
Right.
So they end up there. So it wasn't nothing they planned. So Sean Marks, who was their GM,
Mm-hmm.
I can't say you can't give him credit for that. You know what I'm saying? To a certain
Right.
extent.
Right.
Okay. So James Harden got there. Well, then they wanted to add another thing to some more to the team. So they traded for James Harden. Gave up a whole lot to get James Harden. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then that's when things started going downhill with COVID, Kyrie not wanting to play, James Harden not feeling it and stuff like that. So now Brooklyn is in a situation where they'd already traded James Harden or traded for James Harden and didn't get much back from him other than Ben Simmons.
Right.
And now Kyrie trying to play it smart. He requested a trade. Kyrie's out of there next year. So now
Right.
Brooklyn is in a situation to where now as in they got to try to muscle, find some kind of way because they are almost at the tipping point now, man, where in the next 5 years, unless they can try to keep Kevin Durant or try to get a massive haul for him, Brooklyn's finna turn to the Sacramento Kings for the next 8 years. They
Hmm.
don't they don't own their own picks because they gave them to Houston. They don't own their own picks.
Mm-hmm.
The t- the teams that they're gonna try to trade Kevin Durant to or Kyrie to are teams that they want to haul for, but it's good teams that he want to go to. So if you send them to Brooklyn, if you send them to Boston, now let's go to that. So if you send them to Boston, you get Jaylen Brown, let's say Marcus Smart, Derek White, and maybe 3 first round picks.
Right.
Those three first round picks gonna turn to me and you because Boston are gonna be so good that those first round picks are gonna be 27, 28,
Oh,
30.
most definitely. Most
So
definitely.
those picks are not gonna be that good no way, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Depends on what you do with Jaylen Brown
Right.
or whoever. You gotta look at how much cap space you're gonna get. And I looked at the landscape the next 2 or 3 years. There's not a
Mm-hmm.
big free agent gonna be available. There's not a guy that everybody's gonna be chasing that's gonna be a superstar because
Mm-hmm.
you won't see a big free agent class until maybe 4 or 5 years from now, or unless somebody just come out of the woodwork and
Right.
have one of them German Lin seasons and turn to a free agent because Giannis locked up for 3 or 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Zion's locked up for 3 or 4 years. John
Tatum.
Morant's locked up. Tatum locked up. Every young guy that you can think of that's good is locked up 3 to 4 years. Dame just
Luca.
signed for 4 years.
Right.
Luca. So there's not going to be a big free agent class for the next 4 or 5 years. So
Mm-hmm.
Brooklyn is looking at this situation to like, man, if we don't get something back, man, we literally finna be the Sacramento Kings of the NBA because it's gonna be 4 or 5 years before we can recoup to get our own picks back and the talent that we get. So what they're planning, what I honestly think they want to do, honestly, they hoping somebody foolish enough to say, "I tell you what, for Kevin Durant, I'll give you Brandon Ingram and Zion," and they be like, "Okay, you dummy, you
Well,
dummy."
well, that won't happen.
So they
Um,
hope.
yeah, because Zion is another one that just signed a deal. But
Mhm.
in my opinion, Brooklyn, the best bet for Brooklyn is to go ahead and get a haul for Kyrie and for Durant. Now, the Lakers, speaking on you said something about the Celtics and them. So the Lakers, the issue that I have with them is that they don't want to get rid of that 2029 first round pick, and that seems kind of crazy in the Kyrie Irving situation because you'll be getting from up under the Russell Westbrook contract, and you'll bring in Irvin for a couple years and match him with LeBron that's coming up for free agency. Matter of fact, this is last year's deal. Anthony Davis, you want to maximize him if you can, because to be honest, in my opinion, the Lakers should be willing to give it up because if all things fail, you got a trade bait in Anthony Davis.
So let me tell
That'll
you
bring
about
in some. Yeah, go ahead.
so, and I mean to cut you off or whatever, but let me
No,
tell
that's
you
okay.
about the key to that. You're absolutely right. That's 2029. My son, who I try to coach is in basketball, is 9 years old. Right, he plays
Mm-hmm.
basketball and stuff like that. That's
Right,
almost his. That's almost his draft class. He's
right,
9 now.
right,
So,
right.
so, but I'm gonna tell you the key to see what they're doing is they're saving that pick. They're saving that pick to get into a possibly first round pick or have two first round picks or whatever. They want to get into the 2020, what is it going to be, the 2027?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm going to tell you something. What they want to do is LeBron's not going nowhere unless they just truly, truly pisses him off. He's not
Right.
going nowhere. And if he does decide to go somewhere, it's only two places he's going to, and those are the two previous teams he's played for. It's Cleveland and Miami. Those are the only two places he's going. That's the only two places he's going. But I'm gonna tell you what they want to do. They, as long as LeBron's there, they want to keep him there. That 2029 pick is to try to trade back and to help LeBron. Because if they plan on being good, right? So that 2029 pick, like you say, is really worthless. That pick right there is for Brian and James. That's what that pick is for. That pick right there is for Brian and James. That pick right
Well,
there is to help.
well, my thing is this, man. I think that you got a chance to quite possibly win a championship. You know, you got a window right now to win a championship.
Are
Now,
you a
if
Laker fan?
yeah, I like the Lakers. I like the Lakers. I think they got their best chance of winning the championship right now. If they don't win it this year, their window is shut. The
I
window's
think
shut.
it's already. I think it's already shut. Because
It
let me
it
give you
could it could be.
because if I
Go
look
ahead.
at the best case scenario for me, and this is if just everybody in the league almost helped them try to win. That's
Right.
that's if Brooklyn go ahead. So I tell you what, give me Westbrook and one first round pick for Kyrie. We tired of Kyrie. All right, you get that. Bam. Let's say now you able to pull off a trade with Indiana and get Buddy Hield and Miles Turner
Mm.
for a little of nothing. That's the best team that they can come up with. You know what I'm saying? While keeping Anthony Davis, unless they blow it up for Anthony Davis. You got to look at where his market at now. So even if that happens for the Lakers, right? Let's be realistic. Let's say every team stays healthy. Every team stays healthy in the West. That team is that team right now is still not better than the Clippers or Golden State.
And you know that the thing, and I agree. But those teams, the Clippers being healthy for the Clippers is that issue.
Mm-hmm.
And Golden State, I think that what the best thing that they did was to get new blood. But now they're going to run into a situation of being able to pay them guys
Mm-hmm.
because we could feasibly see a couple guys from them leave in free agency. And also what they're going to do with Wiseman. Wiseman is healthy now, and Looney fits that team better, being a guy that that definitely set picks and screens and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. Klay Thompson didn't look good.
Mm-hmm.
Klay Thompson, I know this was the first year off the injury. He did pretty good, but he didn't look the same. And I don't know if he's going to be the same going forward.
So,
And, and if they don't win this year, I believe that Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, and some of those guys are going to be gone. I think the Lakers, I think the Warriors, I think the Clippers, I think they all are working on a 1 year window. And this year in the playoffs, like you said about injuries and all other things and Phoenix losing, it kind of opened up in the West. It actually opened up, like the East, it seemed, was more difficult than the West in the playoffs.
yeah. And so the thing with Golden State, to pick it back up, Golden State is actually in a great spot because if you look at it, what Golden State is, Golden State got the top three guys who are older. That's Steph,
Mm,
that's Clay, and that's Draymond, right?
right,
Also, now they got the new blood in there, which is Wiseman, Kaminga, Moody, and Poole, right?
right,
The first one up now for a contract is finna be Poole, even though he's eligible for a contract extension, right?
right.
But they're in such a good situation to whereas in they can afford to whereas in by the time it's time to pay those new guys, I guarantee you Draymond is not going to be worth his contract. Cause see, here's the thing, right? You don't have to pay Wiseman, Kaminga, or Moody because you just got them 1 year ago, 2 year ago. So you don't have to pay neither one of those out of those three until probably 2024 to 25 when they're eligible for an extension. Poole is
Mm-hmm,
the first one that you're gonna have to pay out of those guys, which
right.
I believe you can afford Poole, right? And
Mm-hmm.
here's the thing: you ask yourself is when it comes to Poole, you ask yourself how do you value Poole and Wiggins because Wiggins has some youth to him too. That's somebody we hadn't mentioned.
Well,
So
he
now
younger
you ask,
than Steph and Clay. He's a lot younger than them guys.
he's a
Yeah.
lot younger than those guys. So you can take out of those 4 or 5 guys, there's go to states in a situation where they say Steph is going to retire and go to Steph is the only one that we know that's not going nowhere out of Clay and Draymond.
And let me ask you about Draymond. Draymond showed his worth in the finals. His defense was great. Um, but let me ask this. I gotta ask that $1 million question. Is the day gonna come where those guys say, man, we love the 8 assists and 8 rebounds in defense, but bro, you gotta give us some scoring.
And you know what? Here's the thing, right? So you asked to me, you asking a good question,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm gonna give you one name, right? The only problem that's gonna come, I'm gonna give you one name, and this situation is gonna be very similar to Draymond Green,
Okay.
and that's Andre Iguodala.
Okay. Iggy.
Iggy. What's gonna end up happening is, first of all, Draymond he does a lot of talking. A lot of people can't stand him, but Draymond Green is very smart. I don't think they're gonna allow the day to come to where they say we need more scoring for you. I think he's gonna transition into the Iguodala role. He's
Gotcha.
gonna transition into that role, and they're gonna know transition into that role. So I think it's gonna be seamless because one thing about Draymond, I don't think he's gonna have the ego of Westbrook is. He always known he's never been a 20-point scorer. So that's something he always. So it's not like he used to score
Right.
23 points and drop down. I think his
Right.
best year he might have averaged what 12 points his best year.
Right. True.
So I think he's always known that. So when he starts slowing down, I think he eventually goes into like, okay, I'm still valuable to this team on a leadership standpoint and being able to teach. I think he takes himself and put himself in that Iguodala role.
Hey, hold on. Let me say something real fast and we're gonna go back. If we're gonna be talking Georgetown basketball, we don't have a problem with that. Me and Mr. Junebug here are talking just regular basketball until some of the Georgetown people start showing up, or they're in, or want to come on and speak with us. All right. And if you want to come on and talk NBA basketball, join on in. We kicking it right now. All right. Back.
Okay. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I think. That's what I think about that situation with Golden State. And like I say, the
Mhm.
Lakers. I'm honestly, and another thing that people got to realize is Anthony Davis has to stay healthy, but
Mm.
he has to stay healthy with something he hadn't proved. But at the same time, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a LeBron fan, but I'm gonna be a
Understand.
I'm gonna be a LeBron realist. I'm not gonna hate on their athlete, even if I don't like them. I'm gonna always matter that am
Oh,
I
you
back?
back? Okay.
Yeah, okay.
All right. We
Yeah.
got
So I'm not gonna hate on now, dude. I'm gonna keep it real
you. Mm-hmm.
with he's a bad dude, right? But
Yeah.
we gotta ask ourselves, right? Out of
Mm-hmm.
all the times he made it to the finals and things like that, right?
Right.
How much he has left in the tank on a health standpoint, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because for that team to be a championship team, I know everybody said he does it last year, but we do know athletes. It's the same thing in boxing. We've seen boxers age in the ring. We've seen athletes age in a season.
All
So
the time.
that's a lot to ask LeBron to come back now and
Mm-hmm.
be healthy for 82 games. It's getting to the point now where he's almost 40. It's almost getting to be a lot to ask him to be healthy for 60 games,
Mm-hmm.
average 27, 8 and 10.
Mm-hmm.
8 and 8. That's getting to be a lot. That's
Mm.
getting to be a lot, you know what I'm saying? And you can honestly tell because I'm gonna tell you something. Miami, through the second stint of Cleveland, took a lot out of him. You can tell now because when LeBron was in Miami, that's why I'm a Miami Heat fan.
Mm-hmm.
LeBron was one of the best defenders in the league.
Mm-hmm.
If you go look at his stats now, he's one of the worst defenders in the league.
Oh,
And
he
a
don't
lot of
he,
people,
he don't play but one end of the ball now. There ain't
right?
no doubt about it. Um, my opinion on that is they're gonna have to do what Golden State did. They're gonna have to bring in some youth. They're gonna have to bring in youth. They're gonna have to bring in youth. I'm gonna continue to say that they're gonna have to bring in youth. And if they could bring in one that can score like Jordan Poole, that would take a tremendous amount of pressure off of LeBron. Because the issue with LeBron isn't what he can give you, it's what happens when he goes to the bench.
Mm-hmm.
That's been the issue with his teams throughout his entire career, is that it ain't what he gives you on the floor, it's what happens when he come off the floor. And if he could get to a situation where he don't have to play 37, 38 minutes, um, because like you said, man, it's going to be hard to play that
And see,
at
and go
37, 38 years old.
and was so messed up. What happened with Golden State truly is a blessing from the basketball guys, man. Because you look at it, they was on this run to where everybody was like, when they had Kevin Durant, was like, oh my God, man, the NBA boring, man. We already know what's gonna happen. Being this
Right,
dynasty, right? And
right.
it's not very often when a dynasty of that talent, and those guys were almost going to their early 30s when the injuries started happening, to where they end up with great picks the next 2 years. So you look
Right.
at how they got younger. They got younger by a blessing from being injured. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
What team you know able to go 73
And done.
and 9 and then have the second pick 2 years later in the NBA
Mm,
draft. And those players that was on that 73 and 9 team is still there. So those injuries was a blessing to help Golden State get that. So that's not going to be the norm for another team to be good and get that many young good players. You see what I'm
yeah,
saying?
that
Because
that reminded me of the old days when
yeah,
stuff like that would happen to the Celtics or
yeah,
happen to the Lakers of old. Yeah,
yeah.
that doesn't happen no more. That
Uh,
that is definitely true.
and I'll piggyback on this for like say for for Georgetown coming get back to Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
Brooklyn's gonna have to what Brooklyn's gonna have to do is Brooklyn's gonna have to lower their stance and realize that man, we finna end up in some dark times, right? We're gonna
Mm-hmm.
end up in dark times, and Kevin Durant is probably he's once in a every 10-year type of player. Him and
Right.
LeBron's and things like that. I
Yeah.
don't even be honest with you. I like Steph. I don't think he's almost there. It's not that many like him. He's almost there.
He's unique as a
He's
player.
unique. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Brooklyn gonna have to understand is that we're never, even though he's gonna be 34, we are not gonna get enough back to replace this dude. So
No.
we're not gonna get enough to replace. Now that
Get
deal
what
that
you
was
could get.
now that Brooklyn deal, I mean that Boston deal was pretty good. The only thing about that deal there is, of course, you'll ask for Tatum. The only thing about that deal is that Jaylen Brown didn't make a first or second team last year,
Mm.
so he's not eligible for a max.
Right. He
So
had a
so
great season though. That's the
yeah.
crazy thing.
So when his contract comes around, it's gonna make him. I think when his contract comes around, he's gonna be an unrestricted free agent. It's possible that if you trade for him, depending on how he feeling, he may leave you in 2 years. You see what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
So
But
but go ahead.
but the thing that I see about that is, if let's say he leaves in 2 years, right? Let's say he would. The thing that I see is Brooklyn got to start over. And it's almost like New Orleans when they got rid of Anthony Davis. They knew it was going to be hard times. They brought in a young guy in Ingram that stayed. Everybody else from that deal, Josh Hart, Lonzo Ball, excuse me, all them guys are gone. But not only that, but those draft picks brought you Zion. You see what I'm
Well,
saying?
so let me like I said, let me. Well, I ain't gonna say correct you, but let me tell you the way big difference. Then, right? New
Mm-hmm.
England, oh, not saying New England, New Orleans
Uh-huh.
own all their own draft picks, right? Though we can't forget
Right.
that. Brooklyn
Yeah,
don't
and they
own
were
all that.
bad. Right.
Brooklyn
Right.
don't own their draft picks. Second of all, actually, what happened was, let me tell you what happened. Actually, New Orleans' own pick was Zion. The
Right.
pick that the pick they got from the Lakers actually was fourth, and they drafted Jackson Hayes.
Mm-hmm. Which is still there.
So that's the
Mhm.
big difference between Brooklyn and New Orleans is that when Brooklyn goes bad, they ain't getting no you. They ain't
But,
got no
but
picks coming
but
back.
here's the thing. I see a tough season coming up for them. So
Yeah.
it's feasible that they could get right in the lottery again. And
Well,
listen,
that's what I'm
basketball,
about.
yeah, go
That's what
ahead.
I'm about to tell you. That's what I'm about to say.
Mhm.
You forget now, Brooklyn don't have draft picks, so they're
Right,
gonna have a bad season, and
right.
their draft pick is gonna go to Houston for James Harden.
But I think they could get 2 ones. First of all,
They
I
go,
know Boston got a lot. I think that they can get a couple ones in this upcoming draft if they
but
get rid of Durant and
but see,
and
but don't
Kyrie Irving.
forget. But don't forget now. See, I think you don't understand how this works. Don't forget now. If they trade Durant, let's say they trade Durant to Boston, right?
Uh-huh.
The picks is going to come from Boston, but they're going to be based on Boston's record.
Record.
So they're going
Right.
to be
I
20. So
understand
they're going
that.
to be okay. So they're going to be 20.
Yeah.
So you look at it now. How many times do you find a cornerstone at 27, 28, 29?
But true. But also they got Joe Harris in there. So Joe Harris is a guy you might can get a 1 for. And again, you're not going to be able to trade him to a dumpster team. I agree. But what I'm saying is you're going to have to stockpile on picks. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have to stockpile on picks because there's no easy way unless. Now here's another option. This is some good old days type trading. You put Kyrie and Durant in like a 5-6 team trade where you're trading all type of parts. You're trading Durant, you're trading Kyrie, you're trading Joe Harris. They going this place, that place, and you might have to bring teams in like Oklahoma City. You get what I'm saying? You'll have
Yeah.
to bring teams in to facilitate massive contracts like Russell Westbrook, or you could even add Utah in there because we mentioned that Donovan Mitchell is on the block. You know what I'm
But
saying?
see, Utah interested because Utah's tanking. Utah and San Antonio are tanking for a certain player next year, so they're not going to give up picks because Utah and San Antonio is tanking for that foreigner guy, that boy Victor. It's a funny name,
Yeah, I know
Wamp.
you're talking about 7'5" guy. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh huh.
they're tanking for him. So that's why Utah value like right now. Utah wouldn't even take a good player for Donovan Mitchell. That's why Utah's trying to get New York to up those 8 picks
Right.
because they want to make sure they're in the running because they
For that guy.
those two teams. But I'm gonna
Absolutely.
tell you. So I'm gonna tell you what like and people. I said one guy on Twitter accused me of saying this because I'm a Miami Heat fan, right? But I'm gonna tell you the best deal. I know they don't want to do it because it hurts. It's an ego thing of getting rid of Kevin Durant, right? But the best deal for Brooklyn, honestly, is the Miami Heat deal. And I'm going to tell you why, right? Because Miami can give you 3 picks and 2 pick swaps, okay?
Okay.
And the picks Miami going to give you are 2027, and I think it's 2027, 25, and 29. Where you look at those picks, right? All those picks are coming 3 to 4 years from now, right? Whereas in Durant may be out of there in 4 years. Who knows what Durant's going to be? Jimmy Butler may be out of there in 4 years. So
Right.
those picks may be coming around a time where Miami's going to have a bad year because Miami window is going to be the next 3 years. Those picks are not coming to after 3 years.
And
And
Butler's
second,
getting up in age.
and second of all, you get Tyler Hero, which a lot of people are trying to trash him, but I had to pull up his stats. Everybody's talking about how good James Harden was when he went to Houston, how good he is now. But people don't realize is James Harden and Tyler Hero's stats are identical when James Harden was in OKC and he was coming off the bench. They
As a six man.
identical as a
Right.
six man. This kid is 20. This kid is 22 years old, 23 years old, and it gave you 20 points as a six man. And you don't think that's worth trying to build a team around him or at least see what he got as the starting role? It's just the ego don't want to let Brooklyn do it because they want to try to get back. But that's the best deal out there for them, to be honest with you.
Also, this aspect come to play. Brooklyn and a lot of those teams are not going to say this, but they looking at, hey man, when the last time we had a white American talent that led a team?
Well, let me tell you
Born in
something.
America, and also a shooting guard. You know what I'm saying? That
But here's the thing, though. They don't want to say it because I'm going to tell you something. Now we get into the nitty gritty because let me tell you something, right? When the last time, honestly, without them prepping him up, when the last time you had a white powerhouse anyway without you putting a little Kool-Aid on them? And I'm not saying there's not been no good white players now because I think one of the best players I've seen is Dirk. Dirk was a beast. He wasn't American, but but Dirk was a beast. But here's the thing. It's almost to the truth of the matter is they know who really sells and they know who that thoroughbred is in the NBA. They know it's been the history from Dr. J, Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem, Magic. They all know who it is. So, but you got to ask yourself when the last time you've had just a white face of the league where he was clear cut face of the league like a LeBron or Jordan or Magic or things like that. And even when you had Magic, when you had Bird was a
yeah,
package
Magic.
deal with Magic. He had Magic, so it
Right.
wasn't Bird by itself. It was always Bird and Magic. They couldn't,
And then
and
Jordan came and took it from both of them.
Jordan came and
Right.
took it from both of them. So I think that's the ego. That's honestly, if you ask me, that's honestly Brooklyn's best deal. Unless Toronto put Scotty Barnes up, and even that,
I like
Scotty
Scotty.
Barnes. But even that though, don't get me wrong, Scotty may be real good, but Scotty gave you 1 year. We all see how some things can be flash in the pan. Tyler Hero has gave you 3 solid years, and everybody talks about it. But he was, to me, he was the second best player that helped them got to the finals in the bubble behind Jimmy Butler, and that was his rookie year.
Right.
And I don't
I agree.
understand. I don't understand why Miami is not willing to put up Bam. I know he's very likable, great locker room guy, right? But
Mm-hmm.
you look at he's on his fifth year. Everybody that's a superstar that's on their fifth year are scoring averaging 20 points a game, averaging 20 points a game, and established themselves as cornerstone franchise guys. Tatum, Luca, Trey Young, all those guys. Bam hadn't even showed you nothing that he can do anything on offense. This still a guy that's barely averaging 19 points a game. So
Yeah.
if his trade value is that high, I'm sorry. I like him as a person. He seems like to be a very hard working dude. He really does, and people like him. But I wouldn't let him hold me up for getting Kevin Durant while I still got Jimmy Butler and things like that, and I can make a run for the next at least next 2 years, and then be able to keep Hero because I honestly think Hero is the better younger player out of him and Bam.
The thing with Bam is Bam give you that he's a good defensive player. Versatile because on offense you can run some offense through him because he can handle the ball for a big man. Um, yeah, I mean his 18, 17, 18, 19 points is hustle plays and dunks, put back dunks and things of that nature. Um, But yeah, I would. I mean, yeah, I would get if Bam is the holdup on the deal. Yeah, of course for Kevin Durant, I would do that. Definitely, definitely. Speaking of the Heat, they got a former Georgetown player up there, Omar Yurt 7. I like Yurt 7. Uh, he is serviceable big man.
From what I've been hearing, he's actually been in trade talks, and if he don't get traded, I think they're looking for him to have a big year. I think he's possibly going into maybe they start center this year. So yeah, they expecting a big year. If you notice and see, Pat Riley's real slick. I've been a Miami Heat fan since '02. Well, I'm lying. I'm lying. I want to say '03. '03. Been a Miami Heat ever since. As a matter of fact, I followed Wade from Marquette there. So
Mm-hmm.
I know Pat Riley. Pat Riley held him out, and he held out. What's the new guy that he drafted? 27. Nokovic, whatever that boy's name is. He held them two out of summer league for a reason. See, Pat,
Mm-hmm.
Pat been trying to get KD ever since KD asked for that trade.
It makes sense to get KD.
It makes sense to get KD, and be honest with you, that'd be the best team that he'll fit on with personality wise, because Jim is going to be that vocal leader, and that him, Pat Riley, and Eric Spoelstra is not going to let the media come in there with that crazy talk, that soft talk. You trade from team to team and stuff like that. Pat's not. OG Pat ain't going for that. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
I honestly think Kyrie will fit good in Miami because Pat's not gonna go for that. Pat gonna tell Pat will tell you right now and stuff
No
like that.
nonsense, right?
Yeah, Pat gonna make sure you're in shape. He gonna give you a good culture. He gonna stand behind you. And Pat the type of dude that say, "Hey, okay, I tell you what, you sit out for COVID. I'm not gonna argue with you. I'm not gonna argue with you and stuff like that. It's a loss anyway. Even when you decide to come back, guess what? You're gonna ride the bench. We'd have played 40 games without you, so it's not gonna hurt me to play 40 more without you. Pat is one of them white boys that'll say "fuck you." You know what I'm saying? Like that's why him and Danny Ainge don't get along because he cussed out Danny Ainge one time in a trade when they was finna trade a player.
Right,
So,
right.
but
Hey, I agree, bro. That's an interesting outlook right there with the Heat. Also, let me shoot for my Georgetown people that might be up here. Look, Hoya fans, we just talking about Omar Yurt 7. That's just one example of how Patrick Ewing can do for a big man, because a lot of people forget that Patrick Ewing as a big man was actually ahead of his time, because he had a jumper from 15, 17 feet out to 20 feet. I mean, he could shoot. He would get that ball there on the post, and he shoot. He could take a jump shot, turn around, jumper, dunk. He had the defense. He was an all-around. He could play in today's game. He could fit right in, average 27, 14, and 2, or whatever he was averaging back then. He could do it now because the game hasn't outgrown him. I brought that up to say that Patrick Ewing would help that kid, Isaiah Miranda. He would help any big man that come because his game translated to the game that's played today. We talking about Bam Adebayo and Junebug just talking about how Bam isn't what a superstar supposed to be because he has no offense. Well, you never would get that out of Pat Ewing because Pat Ewing believed in the big man taking jumpers because that's what he did. Soon as he left Georgetown, his game exploded as far as the offense. He was always a defensive stalwart, but his offense exploded. And hey, man, and in today's game, it's all about what you can do on that offensive end. And yeah, they got defensive specialists, but you know, as a big man, you got to be able to do two things now. You got to be able to play on the perimeter, offense and defense, and you got to move your feet. So there you go. Now we can get back to the that NBA talk, brother. So
Yeah.
what's your outlook on what would you do with Anthony Davis?
Okay, be honest with you, I know everybody says, but like I say, I'm a big sports guy, right? I fell in love with sports, and I fell in love with listening to analysts. I got an Uncle Radcliffe used to always say, "Listen, let me tell you something, boy. Let me tell you, if you want to be smart, listen to what white people talk to other white people about, not what they talk to black people about, what they talk to other white people about." So that's when I started learning sports and understanding a lot of stuff because I started listening to what a lot of GMs and stuff started saying. So to answer your question about Anthony Davis, be honest with you, I just don't see LA winning the title. Just don't see LA winning the title. Even if they come out the East, I don't see them beat Philly. I don't
Uh-huh.
see them beat Philly or Boston. I just
Mm-hmm.
don't see them beat Philly or Boston because the matchups are just not there for them. Because
Mm-hmm.
for LA to win, for LA to be very competitive, LA would have to have a strong bench and they would have to have a good five. They literally at this point have nobody but LeBron and Anthony Davis.
Mm-hmm.
So if you add Kyrie to the mix, okay, so now they have Kyrie, LeBron, and Anthony Davis, and they have a guy in Anthony Davis who everyone says can't stay healthy. So even if that starting five is pretty good, they have no bench. So goes back to what I would do with Anthony Davis, to be honest with you, and to take back that franchise. I honestly, this is going to start a little fire, but I honestly see what's out there in the trade market for him. I
Well,
honestly see because here's
that's
the
interesting. What could you get for him?
that's what I'm saying. It's hard for me to answer that because you
Mm-hmm.
never know if a team will get thirsty when Anthony Davis get on the market because you know all like say all it takes is one fool, or all it takes is one, so you don't necessarily know. But because what he has showed you, do anybody you ask anybody how many people honestly think you can build around Anthony Davis? If LeBron retired today, do you think LA is in good hands? You
No,
don't move.
no,
Okay.
no way,
Okay.
no way,
So
no
so
way.
so with
They
that
they
being said,
definitely. But here, I'm gonna tell you the reason why I wouldn't say they in good hands. Because number one, they gotta have youth, man. You're gonna have to in today's game. You gotta win with youth because the game isn't just half court. When the game was half court, you know, even in the Jordan days or whomever, you can win in the half court. You can get you three or four 34, 35-year old guys, and y'all can just, make way to the playoffs. You get what I'm saying? But now guys are up and running, and look, that was part of their issue this year. They couldn't stop nobody. They couldn't stop nobody.
well, yeah,
Teams were getting. Yeah, go ahead.
they they couldn't stop nobody because they honestly put a bad team together. Because I'm gonna
True.
tell you, Rob Palenka messed up when he didn't try to bring some of those pieces back from that team from the bubble. He messed up
Kuzma
when
and and KCP should have stayed on the ball team. And I'm
okay.
gonna say this: Kendrick Nunn was a good pickup. He just got injured. But the KCP, the Russell Westbrook deal, they panicked after losing to Phoenix. And in my opinion, they lost to Phoenix. It was all injury driven. I felt like they should have beat Phoenix that year. They had all the momentum. But look, man, you can't win when you panic. Like you say, it take one fool or one person to come out and do this or do that. Yeah, and that's what happened with the Westbrook. I never, and a lot of people, I can't speak of anyone that ever said that they felt like he was going to be a good fit with those guys. Now, I think it's some things that the Lakers can do to help him. Like, for example, Russell Westbrook can be an explosive six man. You know, 18, 20, 22 point a game just coming off the bench. But, is that, can you sell Russell on that? And I don't care who you are. For the majority of every player that ever played basketball, that's what happens. You're going to end up having to, come to a bench role, You're going to have to come off that bench. Carmelo. And also, I think that they were just too old this year. They were just too old. Yeah. They were just too old. Because Melo could give you a little offense, but them guys couldn't guard nobody. Westbrook could give you a little offense, but he couldn't shoot when he got thrown that ball in the corner. You know what I'm saying? He struggled. And I mean, it was games, man. They just looked bad. Like when they played these young boys, they just got ran off the court.
Mm-hmm. And so that's what I'm saying. So when you look at LA is very far from a just a championship team. I know people don't like to hear and people like to say, but LA is not deep enough. They don't even have a third good. They don't even have a third guy. Literally, you don't need when you look at their starting five, you literally got right now like you got Westbrook. Who's your two?
Hey, I think that's why they in that trade market. You know what I'm saying? Because
is you coming back with Anthony at the 5, or you gonna try to put him at the 4? And okay, so whichever one he's in, who's the other one? So if he's at the 4, who's your 5? If he's at the 5, who's your 4? Okay.
Well, LeBron would end up having to be your 4 if you do something like that.
So so then like you say, so now we're back. Who's your 3?
There you go.
And then you have those questions. And then what are you bringing off the bench? Now, don't get me wrong. They did sign some guys. Now
they did good young pickups. Thomas Bryant, off the bench, he could be good at the 5. So they got a couple.
Thomas may start.
He might. But it all depends on if they get a Miles Turner, who they were talking about, then Thomas Bryant is going to be coming off the bench.
And to be honest with you, I think they have to take that deal and here's the reason why they have to take that deal. Because first of all, that's LA. That's LA. That's La La Land. If I'm free and I'm a young person and you got cap space for me, you're gonna get 75% of free agents if you're La La Land. So that's what they got to think about. And I think it's nothing. If they're gonna be competitive the next 2 to 3 years, they have to take that deal because Buddy Hield is still 28, so he still has youth to him. Miles Turner is still young. If LeBron's truly a person that can work with anybody, which is overrated to me, they try to give him too much credit for that. But if he's truly like y'all say he can, he should be able to make it work with Buddy Hield and Miles Turner.
Oh, I think he'll love Buddy Hield. And I think, because think about this. Even in Miami, the most success LeBron ever had as a player, even if because he had a lot of success with off-brand guys, but it was always shooters. Dwayne Wade is the only player that he played awesome with that could do the same things he could. Because and Kyrie, yeah. But Kyrie was a tremendous shooter, though. Mm-hmm. Where Wade was an average shooter, but great at doing everything else. But, if you give LeBron a Kyle Korver or J.R. Smith or Buddy Hield or a Miles Turner, a big man that can shoot like Shannon Fry, if you give him that, you're going to win 50 games. Now, where the drop-off is going to be is like those other positions you're talking about. Because if you bring Buddy and Miles You're gonna have to bring somebody on like that boy T.J. McConnell. You're gonna have to bring somebody on that can be, a Matthew Dellavedova role. You get what I'm saying? Those
Mm-hmm.
type of roles worked with LeBron. So
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna have to do that. You know what I'm saying? In my opinion,
Yeah.
to help offset some of those deficiencies you're talking about.
Uh-huh. And that's why at this point I know he's signed on the clutch, and that may be something either. But that's why I think right now, I think you hit a team in the mouth,
Mm-hmm.
and you, for instance, let's say you see what you can get for Kate. I mean, you see what you can get for Anthony Davis. Anthony
Mm-hmm.
Davis has his ring. You kind of try to pimp him out a little bit and say, you got your ring, you got your money, and things like that, man. I'm going to leave LA in a while, man. Go ahead on and go somewhere. And the first team I will call or see what I can do is I will see about calling. I would see about calling a team like Toronto and see if Pascal, well, I think the sign, but see
Pascal
if
Siakam.
Fred, yeah,
Okay.
and see about him and a Fred Van Fleet. Now you
Mm.
imagine add those two, and now you can actually kind of shortchange yourself and just give Westbrook for anything that you can give him for. You see what I'm saying? Or you can go back and say, okay, we done traded Anthony Davis to Toronto for Pascal and Fred Van Fleet. Now let's go ahead on and trade Westbrook to Indiana and add those two picks in for Buddy Hield and Miles Turner. Now you
Uh-huh.
putting yourself in. Now you put yourself in talks with being a great team. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I would. That's what honestly what I do with
Uh-huh.
Anthony Davis now, because I think you've seen the best that you're going to see without Anthony Davis. I don't think Anthony. I don't think you see another year Anthony Davis being better than you've ever seen him since you've had him. I don't think you see
Right.
that. Even
You
if he stays
you
healthy.
done maxed out.
Yeah. Even if he
Hard
stays
effort
healthy.
wise.
Yeah. Even if he stays healthy, you've already seen the best that he's going to give you, which is not bad, but you've seen the best. So that's
Mm-hmm.
what I'd do if I was LA.
Mm. Hey, let me touch on this. How about what the Bulls been doing, man? They look like they might be a threat to everybody.
Man, you know what, man? I'm gonna tell you something, man. I'm gonna tell you something, man. The Bulls, the Bulls probably can't be. The Bulls may be able to beat your team Georgetown. I'm not impressed with what the Bulls doing. I'm not impressed with what the Bulls. I'm not impressed with what the Bulls doing. And I mean, I really don't see the Bulls will have to have DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine. Those guys will have to have just tremendous breakout years for me. And and who have a breakout year at 31? You know what I'm saying? So you know,
Make a point.
so I don't see them being able to do anything. And that East is stacked because you look at it. You look at your top now. You're coming back with Milwaukee. You're coming back with Boston. You're coming back with Philly. You're coming back with Miami. You
Mm-hmm.
okay? That's four off the rip right there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cleveland looked good, okay?
Right.
Cleveland looked good. That's five. So now you can enter where you may say, okay, let's see what the Bulls gonna do. The Bulls in the same situation now with Toronto, if you ask me. So now you know what I'm saying. I actually like what Detroit is doing.
Mm-hmm.
You ask yourself what Detroit is doing and things like that. Let's say New York pulls off that trade and get Donovan Mitchell. They're
Mm.
about what it was. So to me, the
But
Bulls are
Julius
still
Randle, his stock has went down so bad, man.
well. They would pull that trade without even introducing Julius Randle because see, New York have so many picks that with that trade right there will probably that you would probably have to give up probably what's his name R.J. Barrett, another two
Oh,
guys.
that's a good one though. RJ can play now.
Yeah, another two guys and those eight picks. Cause see, Utah's finna drain. Utah's asking for every bit of 7 to 8 picks for Donovan Mitchell.
And
So
RJ?
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Ooh,
Utah. That's why everybody. That's why the deal hadn't been made yet.
that's deep.
Utah's trying to rake people. Yeah, Utah's tanking hard for oh boy. So that's why I say. But go back to your Bulls. I don't think your Bulls are going to beat. I'm going to tell you two teams to look out for, wild card teams to look
Mhm.
out for. And to me, both of them are in the West.
Okay.
and that's OKC and Sacramento.
Bro, OKC gonna be in the lottery again now. Now, what you see out of OKC now? Tell me, they got some good young talent, but I see them in
So
the lottery.
so I'm gonna tell you something. OKC is a team that you got to well, I ain't gonna say you got to understand, but you look at it, right? The
Okay.
last 3 years they have been playing their role. It's almost like how people always say, know your role, now know your role. Right?
Uh-huh.
So OKC have probably one of the best young cores that you can have that's not outside of Tatum and things like that, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you look at it now. Utah is finna fall off because they even if they keep Donovan Mitchell, they traded Rudy Gobert, they traded Royce O'Neal and
Yeah,
things
it's
like
over.
that.
It's over.
So that's a team. So now
And
let's
they
say
trying to get rid of Mike Conley,
uh-huh.
who
So
got a
now let's
massive deal.
so now let's just say for instance that okay, well let's replace the Clippers with the Utah, okay?
Mm.
Okay. Okay. But now San Antonio has gotten worse, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because San Antonio was close at the end, right? San Antonio was got close,
And then
right?
they broke the team up. Right.
So when you look at it with what's his name, Alexander, Josh Giddey, Chet
Mm-hmm.
Holmgren, who I actually think Chet Holmgren is going to do pretty good, and some of the
Uh-huh.
other pieces we got, they have a lot of youth to where, as in, if you ask me now, they're in what you would call now, uh, playing for that play-in spot. Along with, because
Quick,
I don't look at
hold
Portland
up.
and say
Quick
Portland.
question about that. How many years do you see them staying in Oklahoma City? Now, that's the question.
I think you know what I don't think that if a team move first, I don't think it's gonna be them. I actually see them staying in Oklahoma City for a long time because if you look at it,
Okay.
because if you go look back and look at it, just sell out and it has a great home court advantage where hey, they fans they have some good fans. They won't be the first team to leave. You know,
No, no,
I
no, no,
mean,
no. I'm talking about those players.
oh
Those
those
players.
players.
Oh yeah, I think 100% basketball in Oklahoma City is here to stay.
Well,
I'm talking about the players. Giddy, Chet
well,
Holmgren,
well, they're gonna stay a long time because you got to remember, you got to look at it right.
the max
So
deals.
not only the max deals, and here's the two things I'm gonna bring up to you, right? Let's look at the deals. They
Okay.
own Chet Holmgren for the next. They own Chet for the next five at the least. That's even if
True.
they don't extend him, so they own him for the next five at least.
True.
They
True.
own get it for the they own get it for the next four, because he
Okay.
was drafted last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget now they actually own Alexander is for the next 4 or 5 years because
I
now they
think
still
Alexander gonna get traded. If I'm LA, if I'm LA, I go at Alexander. I
so
I say, look, bring Russell Westbrook home. Bring him home. Yeah,
so
go ahead.
it's funny you said that, right? Because
Mhm.
I'm gonna go look at my old tweet.
Okay.
I tweeted this today, and I said if I'm
Oh, really?
Miami, I tweeted this today. If I'm Miami, I'm calling Sacramento or OKC for De'Aaron Fox or Alexander. I tweeted this.
Absolutely, 100%.
I tweeted this today. I'm
100%.
now. I think you're right. I think he will be there long as they want him to be there. Put it
Right.
like that, and he's gonna get traded. I
Yeah.
absolutely agree with you. But besides that, they are putting together some young pieces, and if I'm not mistaken, they may still own some picks from that trade that they did because they got a lot. They got a lot for Westbrook and Paul George. They
Yeah.
got a
They got
lot.
a lot. They
They
got a
got a
lot.
lot.
And that
So
was a
they may.
smart move. But Junebug, let me say this. Let's jump on this subject for the next about 10 or 15 or however long you got left, brother.
Okay.
And this is going away from the Georgetown talk and even the basketball talk. This is overall the sports and what we're doing up here, and also something that had something to do with the tweet I sent out today. And
Okay.
brother, and you remember I told you we were gonna touch on a little bit of these type of things, and I had to touch on it, man. You know, um, when it come down to the boxing or the basketball or what have you, brother, Um, a lot of times, we get up here and this is a great space, man, for people that look like us and what I'm saying, that are fans, and we should support. You get what I'm saying? And me and you both, we be all on all type of platforms talking about all different type of things to support people. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But some of the stuff that I see on Twitter, like what I saw today, man, I mean, it's the craziest thing in the world, man. Because in my opinion, man, us black people, we have to stick together on things like this. Because it was a time where I could tell a guy like yourself probably know baseball, all different type of sports, football, what have you, like myself. But we weren't even allowed in those conversations. Like they would have conversations about sports. We start jumping in there, and they see we know what we talking about. They'll walk away from us.
Mm-hmm.
Get on this. They only want the subscriptions. And speaking of subscriptions, please subscribe to my channel. All those that are listening, but they basically just want that. They don't want you to come on and give your opinion. They just want you to subscribe. They don't care what you got to talk about. And then they sit up like a guru, like the man with the big hat on that know everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, and then we sit up there. Not talking about me and you. We talking about we as black people sit up there and we engage and we pray. We heap praise on them when they don't even know nothing. They know less than we do in some cases, and we still praise them for their knowledge.
Yep. Yep.
And I just think that stuff is crazy. Those same people we're talking about, they never retweet anything about what you got going on. They never go on platforms that support what you have going on. But yet and still, at the end of the day, we got to heap praise on them. So I don't care if you're 16, 15, 55, or 100 years old. If you one of those type of people, I'm going to call you out. And I'm going to call you out on any platform or what have you. Because you're a vulture. You're an absolute vulture. And people allow you to be a vulture. Even though you're a race soldier, they'll give you a apology. They'll even say to me, Julius, you shouldn't talk like that. You should chill out.
Mm-hmm.
You should chill out. I've been told when that person was on one time for me to chill. What? You telling me to chill? We're not in front of each other. Ain't gonna be no fight or what? You know what I'm saying? But I don't understand why we want white people's what's the word I'm looking for?
Sometimes I praise.
Yeah, their praise or their to heap the hey, you've made it now because I said you made it. Nah, man,
Well,
I'm off that. But go ahead.
where you look at the answer to that question there, you look at the history of just us when it comes to just say sports or just TV
Approval.
in
Thank you,
general.
King of Kings. He had the right word. I apologize.
Approval.
Approval. We wait for their approval and
Approval.
their stamp of approval. Now go
You
ahead.
look when you look at the history of things of us in sports, television, whatever it always have been.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, especially the crabs and the bucket ones anyway, they never felt they made it big until they received that approval from them. You know what I'm saying? They
Absolutely.
never felt that same approval. Like for instance, you have boxers now that fight or argue over the pound for pound list, and not for the reasons why they should be, but because of they not on the white man's pound for pound list and stuff like
Oh,
that.
exactly.
And
Here
and the
all
crazy
the time.
and the crazy part about it, every black YouTube channel can get on there and say no. I was finna call a boxer name out, but every black YouTube channel can get on there and say, hey, You on my pound for pound list, and two, you on my pound for pound list.
Won't
One,
matter.
they they won't matter because I ain't on Rings magazine.
There you go. Green Magazine or ESPN didn't acknowledge me. You,
I'm sick about that.
you
And the
know, let me cut you off for 1 second.
go ahead.
Because what you're saying, athletes of old weren't like that.
Mm-hmm.
I can remember a World Be Free. You remember World Be Free, right?
Mm-hmm.
World Be Free story about Julius Erving, how him and the doctor, you know what I'm saying, hung out in New York at the Rucker and places like that,
Mm-hmm.
and and drove back into Philly. I remember in boxing, man, Aaron Pryor, no guys that he had around him, they weren't looking for approval of HBO or Showtime or this thing or that thing, or you know what I'm saying? Like, that makes me sick. But you're absolutely right. They'll get upset if their name is not you know what I'm saying, on the so-called big boys stuff.
Mm-hmm. And see, what now comes with it, the reason why it matters now because it's a false sense of that with their approval comes cha-ching. Not
Mm,
not the knowledge that hey, if you get your own proof and do your own thing, put it like this. I always said when I was playing sports and stuff like that, or you looking, no matter what, if you play in a gym full of 50,000 people or you playing in a gym full of 20 people, if you're good enough, you're gonna get found. So they
yep.
don't understand. They don't understand that, and some of them are so quick now to these days to whereas in they sell short. But I'm gonna go to what you're saying about what we was talking about the Twitter thing right there, which is something about that person I've been noticed, and I've been noticed. What really tripped me out is what you said, what I said. Whereas they gotten so smart in today's time, Julius, even from 15, 21 to 31, 41, to whereas in they know what they're doing, but they'll try to hide it to a certain extent, as in, you know, they'll fake give the praise and say on their pound for pound list or game going on and say, hey, Terrence Crawford is a good fighter. But every time if Terrence Crawford was to fight anybody,
Hold on. Junebug, hold up. This is what I want to do, okay? I'm going to end the Georgetown basketball talk, okay?
okay, okay,
We're going to revamp and come back up in 10 minutes.
okay,
In 10 minutes, and we're going to discuss what we doing right now, what we talking about in a whole nother platform.
okay.
Uh, Thank you guys that tuned in to hear the Georgetown and end up hearing some great basketball talk. I'm going to be back in about 10 minutes. And me and Junebug is about to spit out some more venom, and hopefully some boxing people will come on because we got to talk some talk, and I want our own platform on that. So Junebug, give me 10 minutes. I'm about to
I
send
got
you
you.
a link. It might be in my Twitter or I send it to you direct. I'm gonna be back up in 10 minutes. All right.
All right,
All
got you.
right, bro. Thank you.